Okay, so my name is Itai Weinstein.
My name is Sherelle Maury.
Ella Manellis.
I'm Hoovie Hirschfield. I'm Reza Glazer. I'm in 6th grade.
I'm in 7th grade.
I'm in 8th grade. I'm 14 years old, and I had the trip to Israel.
Washington, D.C.
And I went on the Alabama trip.
When we started to think about the concept of the Alliance, what we were trying to do was we were trying to bring together our students with students from other small cities across the country so that they could learn together about how to make change and what needs to be changed.
On the first day, we went to Birmingham and we learned about teamwork, and we talked to a lady from the Southern Poverty Law Center about incarceration, and that really moved me because we got to learn about our justice system and how the justice system works.
When we went to Selma, so we first went to a temple in Alabama. It only has 3 members, and those 3 members keep it running. It's a really beautiful place. After the temple, we went to meet someone named Joanne Bland, and so she was someone that before Dr. Martin Luther King went to Alabama, they marched in Bloody Sunday, which is where many African Americans were hurt and killed just because they were marching. They didn't do anything wrong. They were peaceful.
It was amazing because not only are we just reading from textbook what we're learning, but we're actually talking to real people who experienced this, and we're learning firsthand how it felt for them, and some of the experiences were absolutely terrible.
It's a very sad scar on our history that sadly, but also hopefully needs to be learned for the next generation, so the next generation knows how to avoid that and not to go through it again.
When we learned about mass incarceration, you learn that it isn't gone, because like when we went to one of their museums, it's called the Lynching Museum. We had there was a speaker that came in that was his name was Contrell Jackson, and he was arrested at like 14, and what happened is his friend and his cousin were just walking, and his friend and his cousin wanted to rob a store. He didn't want to, so he was waiting. His cousin told him to wait outside, and so he was waiting outside and he got nervous. So when he went into the store and he saw his friend shoot the clerk in the store. And so he was arrested for guilt by association, and so he was sentenced to life without parole.
The people that don't know about what happened in the 1960s, they should learn about that. And then it would maybe change your life, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know if history is going to repeat itself.
I think that the trip to Alabama, where the students get to go to Birmingham, Montgomery, and Selma, resonates with them really, really deeply. They've been learning about the history of America. They've also been learning about the history of Jewish people. And they've been learning about how people have had to overcome such unbelievable circumstances. And I think that when our students go to Alabama and they get to see firsthand and talk to people who were actually there living the experiences, I think that that's just a game changer for our students.
They had like tourist girls that were ripped up, and they had all these kind of stuff that like touched my heart. And it was like, you think that you know enough about the Holocaust, but it's like there's a lot more. And there's a lot of stuff that we saw visual that was like, wow, this like, it happened to 6 million Jews. It's like, it was a very touching moment for me.
They wanted us to take a look in the inside world and the government, and to learn about the past so it doesn't repeat.
These trips kind of shape me as a person and give me a view on the world by knowing that just because I'm one person doesn't mean that I can't make a difference, because if you look at these people and what they've done, it's one person inspiring a bunch of people to join together and fight something that they think is wrong.
I think that it really puts in perspective that this wasn't thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago. This was within their parents' or their grandparents' times, and that these are still people who have the ability to tell their stories. And I think that our students see that, and I think that it inspires them to want to go out and retell those people's stories and to keep that going.
This year, my class went on a class trip to Israel with a couple of different other small Jewish schools in America.
This year, I went to Israel for a class trip. I would say it was one of the best experiences in my life.
Even though I was born in Israel, the trip is totally like any other trip you take. You do stuff that most Israelis don't even do, and you go to places other people don't go to. So it's once in a lifetime trip.
And there's so many stories you learn in Israel about the past and about your heritage and your values.
It was really fun. We did a lot of things. One of my favorite things that we did was on Yom HaAtzmaut on Ben Yehuda Street. There was a big party because it was the celebration of Israel, and it was really cool to see such a big celebration, everyone coming out.
When I heard about the Israel trip, I got a bit excited, but I realized that I just didn't want to go. I didn't feel like going back and thinking about my past. But when I landed in Israel, my mindset just changed. It felt like I was in heaven. It was a huge difference. I had a lot of fun. I made a lot of new friends, and that's a first for me, making friends in Israel. I mean, I usually never had friends in Israel. I only had one or two.
Because they wanted us to learn. They wanted us, for Israel, they wanted us to see, for all of them really, they wanted us to see, they wanted us to learn. Every trip, it's very different than Rochester daily life. We do different things, and it's cool to see these other perspectives.
And visiting the Holy Land is just a dream come true. Not everybody does it, and it's kind of sad that they're not trying or wanting to go to Israel, but Israel is the place to be. It's the motherland, it's the homeland of our people, the Jewish people, and I just want to say thank you to Hillel Community Day School for working hard on making this trip possible. It was the best time of my life.
Every day we can talk about the Holocaust, we can talk about civil rights, we can talk about the idea that they could be great leaders and that you guys can make really great change, but I think that until they really can see what's going on, until they can really get to the bottom of it, until they can become relevant and meaningful to them, I think that it's still just a story. And so I think by bringing the Alliance together, we're trying to bring some stories to life so that we can bring our students' stories of leadership to life and that they can see themselves as capable for making great change in the world.